Welcome to today's deep dive. We're stepping back in time a bit today, ancient China to be exact. And you know me, I love a good memoir. And this one is, well, it's by a guy who calls himself Da Shah, which, get this, translates to big fool.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, isn't it? Calling yourself Big Fool. I mean, talk about setting expectations. But when you delve into the memoir itself, you realize there's a certain self-awareness there, a sort of dark humor. And it's not inaccurate given what we know about the time period. The memoir seems to be from the late Ming or early Qing dynasty, a time of, shall we say, upheaval. Lots of change, not all of it peaceful.
And this big fool, Dasha, he's our guide through this tumultuous world. And let me tell you, he doesn't pull any punches. This is a world of assassins, shifting loyalties, hidden agendas, the kind of stuff that makes you want to sleep with one eye open, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the way Dasha tells it, it's just matter of fact, like describing the weather. He starts his story as a 15-year-old orphan, basically surviving by any means necessary. He even talks about his first kill
Oh, yeah, I remember that part.
with this chilling detachment. And, you know, as a historian, you see that and you think, that says a lot about the world he lived in, you know, the way social structures just crumbled around him. It's heartbreaking, really.
It is, but it's also like this really raw, real glimpse into the past. And that's what makes Drasha such a compelling narrator. He doesn't shy away from the ugliness, from the violence. He confronts it head on. And in a way, that brutality makes the bonds he forms even more powerful. I mean, this is a kid who's been robbed of everything, family, security, any sense of normalcy. So when he falls in with this group of assassins,
Finds different kinds of family.
exactly, it's like, yeah, this is messed up, but it's also all he's got. There's this strange sense of belonging, of purpose even.
It highlights that human need for connection, even in the darkest of circumstances.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this family. We've got Big Brother, the enigmatic leader of the pack. Well, little we learn about him is shrouded in mystery.
All we know is he's the one who, let's say, brought Deshaun to the fold. He's got this aura of quiet authority, someone you don't mess with.
Exactly. And then their second sister, King Yu.
Ah, the only one with a proper name. I noticed that.
Right. It makes you wonder, what's the story there?
Definitely raises more questions than answers.
But she is fascinating, deadly, but also there are hints of something more, something vulnerable beneath the surface. And then, of course, we have third brother, the silent, brooding swordsman. Now, he's an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wouldn't you say?
You could say that again. Desha is equal parts drawn to him and terrified of him. He sees something in third brother's eyes, a depth, a pain that he can't quite put his finger on.
Like a bottomless well. He even says at one point, if I remember correctly.
Exactly, a bottomless well. And through these fragmented memories Desha shares, you start to understand why. Third brother's childhood was, well, it was rough, to say the least. Raised in an environment where any display of emotion, any sign of weakness was met with brutal punishment.
So he just shuts down and learns to suppress everything, bottles it all up inside.
Exactly. And that trauma, that learned repression, it's only compounded by a deeply personal tragedy. As a young man, he falls in love. Ruzi, her name was. But she ends up taking her own life rather than marry someone else.
Oh, wow. Talk about carrying a lot of baggage.
Right. So you've got this foundation of a harsh, unforgiving upbringing. And then you layer on top of that the guilt, the grief, the what-ifs that come with a loss like that.
It's no wonder he's so withdrawn.
He's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he doesn't know how to share it. And you can tell Desha senses this. He's drawn to third brother's quiet intensity, but he also knows that beneath that still surface, there's a storm raging. He recognizes a kindred spirit in a way, someone who has also known pain, who understands what it means to carry burdens in silence.
Man, what a way to grow up, huh? Surrounded by secrets and shadows.
That's Desha's world in a nutshell.
So all this talk of secrets and shadows, it makes you wonder, what kind of business are they actually involved in?
Right, like what are the specifics of this assassin thing? It's not like they're, you know, taking out bad guys in broad daylight.
Definitely not your average 9 to 5, that's for sure.
So we get a glimpse into that world through this one particular mission. Big brother calls Shah and third brother in, gives them the details. They're to target a high-ranking official, someone who's gotten a little too big for his britches, let's just say. Corrupt, abusing his power, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like a pretty standard bad guy, at least for this world.
Right, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But of course, nothing is ever that straightforward, especially with this crew. This particular official, he's got a past. And that past, well, it's directly connected to second sister. Turns out he's the one who broke her heart, drove her to join Big Brother and, become the deadly assassin she is today.
Whoa, hold on. You're telling me this whole mission is like a personal vendetta thing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did Big Brother know about this connection? Was he, I don't know, trying to protect Second Sister in a weird way? Or maybe he was trying to give her a shot at revenge? It's never explicitly stated, which just adds to the intrigue.
It's like Big Brother is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Oh, 100%. He's always got some long game in mind. But as with most plans, things don't exactly go according to plan.
Let me guess. Second sister finds out what's going on.
Oh, she finds out, all right.
Okay.
And let me tell you, she is not happy. She confronts Big Brother, and the scene is, well, imagine like a powder keg about to explode. She's furious, hurt, betrayed. All these emotions she's kept bottled up for years, they just come pouring out.
Man, I can only imagine what Deschamps' thinking during all of this. He's caught between this father figure who brought him in from the cold and this, well, I don't know, this woman he clearly respects and maybe even, has feelings for.
Oh, yeah, there are definitely some unspoken vibes going on there. You pick up on these little hints, these stolen glances, these moments of connection between them. But yeah, he's way out of his depth here, like a kid caught in a typhoon or something.
So what happens? Does second sister try to stop Big Brother from killing the official?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, and it's also where the memoir, unfortunately, cuts off, leaving us with more questions than answers.
Ugh, you're killing me with this cliffhanger.
I know. It's frustrating, but it's also what makes this story so compelling. It's like we're right there with Dasha, caught in this web of intrigue and uncertainty. We're left to imagine what happens next.
All right, so we're left hanging. Second sister just stormed off to confront her former lover. What's next?
Well, here's where those symbolic details Dasha is always dropping become really important. Remember that dish, Zishang Feng? It pops up again in this scene.
Oh, right. It's like their signature dish or something.
Yeah.
Always eating it.
It's more than just food, though. It represents something deeper, the balance of flavors, the history behind it. And in this scene, Big Brother, he actually brings a bowl of Zishang Feng with him to the official's house.
Okay, now that's just cold. Like, hey, here's your last meal before I kill you.
It's brutal, right?
Hmm.
But that's the point. This isn't a clean kill, not anymore. It's all tangled up with these messy emotions, these past relationships.
And how does the official react, knowing that, this could be it for him?
Surprisingly, he's pretty calm, almost resigned to his fate. But he does make a point of asking about second sister. Wonders if she's the one who prepared the Zishang Feng.
Oh, man. Talk about adding insult to injury.
In Big Brother, he just gives this knowing smile, says something vague about how some things once lost can never be truly recovered. Classic cryptic Big Brother stuff. But you can tell even he's shaken, like this whole situation is messing with him too. And Dosha, well, he's just caught in the middle of it all.
Watching this whole drama unfold.
Right. And that's where the memoir leaves us, with Desha bearing witness to this tense standoff between his mentor, well, maybe more than a friend, and this ghost from their past.
So we never actually find out what happens, if Big Brother goes through with it, if second sister ends up killing her old flame, or if they just, I don't know, have tea and reminisce about the good old days.
We don't. The manuscript just sort of ends there.
You're kidding. Talk about a cliffhanger.
I know. Believe me, as someone who's spent way too much time with this memoir, I share your frustration, but I also kind of love it. It's like it forces you to come up with your own ending, to consider all the possibilities.
And all the different choices these characters could make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the author, maybe even just Shah himself, is asking us, what would you do?
That's a good question because, honestly, I have no idea. There's no easy answers here. It's like every option leads to more questions, more complications.
And that's the beauty of it. Because life, it's not about neat resolutions, is it? It's messy, it's complicated. We're all just stumbling through it, trying to make sense of things the best we can.
Trying not to make a big fool of ourselves along the way.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our own deep dive, at least for today.
A deep dive full of intrigue, to be sure.
To say the least. Big thanks to you, the expert, for navigating us through this twisty-turny tale. And to everyone listening, keep those questions coming. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into history's most fascinating figures and texts. Until then, happy reading.